Hi everyone, this is Bill Zajewski, Vice President of Product Marketing for ATG, and with me today is Alain Gendre. He's the Senior Partner Marketing Manager for CyberSource, and we're here to talk about fraud. We're lucky enough to have Alain, who's an expert in that area. So let's start there. Why don't you share with the audience what is going on in the fraud? Are we doing better, worse? What the state of fraud is today?
So, Bill, every year we publish a report. We call that the Online Fraud Report. And for the first year since 2003, we have seen a decrease in the fraud rate.
Decrease?
Yeah. So we are talking about still $3.3 billion, in North America, stolen by the fraudsters. But that's pretty good news,
It sounds like good news. So does that mean we've kind of figured it out now and we can expect it to even get better as time goes on, or we still have major concerns out there?
So there are good news and bad news. So the good news is that merchants, our customers, joint customers, are doing way better. So they understand better the type of fraud, so they are reacting better. And definitely this year, I think they won the battle. But what they're telling us, and it's 50% of them, they're telling us that they're seeing cleaner fraud, meaning fraud that is more difficult for them to detect. So I think it's definitely a concern for the coming years.
Cleaner fraud, so they're getting better at it.
Yes.
So there are a lot of ways, I hear, to fight fraud and to manage fraud. What are some of the approaches that folks are taking in managing fraud?
So there are two things you need to understand, and this is the CyberSource approach here. First of all, there's no silver bullet. There's no one detector that will solve everything for yourself, and you need to see it as a process. So if you are a small merchant, you can afford to review every order. So basically, you have someone on staff looking at the order, making some calls, making sure that the customer, that's the right customer, placed the order and stuff like that. If you are a big merchant, you cannot afford it. Too many orders are coming. So the first thing you need to do is to make sure that you are detecting and getting as much information about the order. And then you need to automate as much as possible. And then you still have to do some manual reviews, but you want to make sure that your reviewers are spending time on the orders that are the most difficult, but the one that looks regular or from recurring customers. What
kind of information are you capturing that will give you hints as to this is potentially a fraudulent order?
So there are different ways. I mean, you have information coming from the bank, like the billing address, shipping address, so you can double check on that. You have also the 3-digit code at the back of the card, so as a merchant, as a customer, you should ask for that. There are other things we are detecting, like the IP geolocation, so the IP address, make sure that, it matches, for example, the billing address, but if it's someone traveling, you need to be careful about that. You can also, we share all the information between all the merchants so we can see if a credit card had been used with other addresses. In that case, we will raise a flag.
Got it. So CyberSource's role in this, you're collecting all that information, you've got algorithms to detect potential fraud, and you've got rules that you set up.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe you can describe kind of what your product, what's your actual product or solution that you take to market for
exactly. So what we have, the name of the product is called Decision Manager. And what Decision Manager is composed of is 3 main modules. The first one is the detectors module.
Detector module.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you have here is 200 detectors looking at the order and capturing as much information. Then we have the rule engine.
Rules engine?
Yeah. So the rule engine is basically a way to automate decisions. So you will decide, for example, if the IP address doesn't match the billing address, I want to review or to reject that order. And then in order to streamline and optimize the process, we have a case management.
Case management, so that's the third piece.
Yeah, that's the third piece of it.
Okay, and that's a manual workflow kind of thing?
Exactly. So basically, you will have some queues for your reviewers to pick orders, and we attach some information to those orders so they can make intelligent decision about it and decide to reject or to accept it.
Got it. So these hackers are fraudsters. They're not standing still.
Yeah.
They're responding to the software that's catching them, and they're innovating in a way as well. What is the emerging in kind of in fraud space, and what are some of the innovations going on to deal with their innovation?
Yeah, no, Bill, that's a great question. I mean, we fight to keep up with the fraudsters, with the hackers. So the latest technology we added very recently, as a matter of fact, is called device fingerprint. Mm-hmm. So fraudsters are becoming very smart at hiding, for example, the IP address, or they use compromised computers. Mm-hmm. So we try to identify what is the device behind the transaction, not just the IP address, but really the physical device. Mm-hmm. So then we can see the same device has been used by other credit cards with other addresses and stuff like that. So it adds some information so you can detect, if it is potentially fraudulent. But you need to be careful as well, because it can be a computer in the library where people or someone, passing orders for other member of the family.
Right.
So, it's all this kind of mix you need to be...
There's no silver bullet, as
exactly.
you said, but that's an interesting concept, this device fingerprint.
Yes.
That you can really get down to a single device and understand what activity is coming from that device. Well, thanks, Alon. I think that was very informative for me, and I think for our audience, and thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Bill, for having me today.